First contact and deception. The Grand Assembly Chamber of the Galactic Consortium pulsed with bioluminescent light as 500 representatives from across known space gathered. Towering crystalline spires rose to a vaulted ceiling where holographic displays mapped the vast territories under consortium control. The chamber hummed with the combined voices of hundreds of species, from the insectoid Krell to the gaseous Voidborn, creating a cacophony that only quieted as the 7 elders took their positions. High Elder Zirith, the eldest of the ancient Elurans, rose from his gravity throne. His translucent skin shimmered with patterns that conveyed both age and authority. The neural amplifiers embedded throughout the chamber carried his telepathic voice to every mind present. "We stand at a crossroads," Zirith began, his mental voice resonating with the weight of 10,000 years of experience. "Our exploration vessels have discovered a world at the edge of the Orion Arm. The inhabitants call themselves humans." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. New species were encountered regularly, but rarely warranted attention from the full consortium. "These humans," Zirith continued, "appear physically unimpressive. Carbon-based, short-lived, without natural defenses. However, our preliminary studies reveal a concerning pattern." He gestured, and holographic displays materialized showing the rapid acceleration of human technology over mere centuries. Science Elder Talus stepped forward, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "In a single millennium, they've progressed from primitive tools to rudimentary space exploration. Their rate of advancement exceeds anything in our records. More concerning is their psychology. The displays shifted to show human conflict throughout history. They thrive on challenge. Where other species seek harmony, humans embrace struggle as a catalyst for growth." "What are you suggesting, Elder?" asked Drex, the resource minister, a hulking crystalline being whose faceted body reflected the chamber's light. "That we avoid contact. The scan shows 17 resource-rich worlds in their sector. Our expansion requires those materials." "I'm suggesting caution," Talus replied, her skin darkening with concern. "These humans may appear primitive, but their adaptability makes them unpredictable. Standard integration protocols may be insufficient." Resource Minister Drex's crystalline form vibrated with impatience. "With respect, elders, we've incorporated hundreds of species into the consortium. Some required more persuasion than others, but none have resisted successfully. These humans are centuries behind our technology. If they prove difficult, we simply accelerate from cultural assimilation to resource acquisition." The debate raged for days, as was consortium custom. Reports were analyzed, simulations run, precedents examined. Elder Talus presented evidence of human ingenuity, their troubling history of overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds, and their inexplicable ability to unite in the face of external threats despite their internal divisions. But ultimately, practicality prevailed over caution. The final vote was 382 to 118 in favor of establishing contact with humanity and beginning the standard integration process. The elders' warnings were noted in the official record, but ultimately disregarded. First contact occurred on May 17, 2047, when consortium vessels appeared in Earth's orbit, broadcasting messages of peace and cooperation in all human languages. The world's governments, after initial panic, responded with cautious optimism. The consortium representatives, led by Ambassador Krell, promised to share knowledge and technology to help humanity solve its most pressing problems. For 3 years, relations appeared promising. The consortium established outposts on Mars and in Earth's orbit, sharing limited medical and energy technology that helped address climate change and certain diseases. In exchange, they received mining rights on Mars, the Moon, and several asteroids. Humans were told they were now provisional members of the consortium, with full membership and more advanced technologies to come once they proved their civilization maturity. Dr. Elena Volkov, head of the United Earth Science Division, was among the first to suspect the consortium's true intentions. During an authorized visit to the Mars outpost, She noticed discrepancies between the mining output reported to Earth authorities and what was actually being extracted. Her team also discovered that the limited technology shared with humans had been deliberately designed with flaws that prevented further advancement. "They're deliberately keeping us dependent," she told the United Earth Security Council. "The technologies they shared solve immediate problems, but create new ones only they can fix. Meanwhile, they're extracting resources at 10 times the reported rate." When Earth demanded answers, Ambassador Krell expressed regret for the misunderstanding and promised greater transparency. Instead, the consortium accelerated their timeline. 3 days later, precisely calibrated energy pulses disabled Earth's major defense and communication systems. Kinetic bombardment, simple but devastating technology that dropped metal rods from orbit at near-relativistic speeds, destroyed key military installations worldwide. From orbital platforms, Ambassador Krell addressed what remained of Earth's leadership. His message was broadcast on all frequencies. "The Galactic Consortium has determined that humanity requires direct guidance to overcome its primitive tendencies. Your species will now enter Phase 2 integration. Resistance will only cause unnecessary suffering." Translation: surrender or be destroyed. The consortium expected humanity to recognize the futility of resistance against a civilization thousands of years more advanced. They expected Earth's governments to capitulate within days. They were wrong. Within hours of the attack, military and civilian leaders who survived the initial bombardment implemented contingency plans. Underground facilities that had been maintained since the Cold War became command centers. When conventional communications were knocked out, people reverted to older technologies: radio, telegraph, even physical messengers. In the ruins of Beijing, General Sun Wei gathered the remnants of Asia's military forces and ordered an unconventional response. Rather than directly engaging the alien ships, they targeted the ground-based mining operations with guerrilla tactics. In Europe, the surviving NATO forces avoided detection by constantly moving, using civilian vehicles and abandoned subway tunnels. In Africa, warriors from a dozen nations formed hunting parties that specialized in capturing alien scouts. Dr. Volkov, having escaped Moscow minutes before it was targeted, made her way to a secret facility in the Ural Mountains. There, she assembled the greatest scientific minds who had heeded her warnings. Their mission: to understand and reverse engineer any alien technology they could salvage. 3 months after the initial attack, not a single human government had formally surrendered. Instead, a decentralized resistance had formed across the globe, united by a single purpose, despite having no central leadership. In the Consortium Grand Assembly, the mood had shifted from confidence to confusion. "This defies all prediction models," Resource Minister Drex reported, his crystalline body dulled with stress. "They've lost major cities, global communication, advanced weaponry. Yet they fight with increasing effectiveness. They're adapting to our tactics faster than we can implement them." Elder Talus's skin pulsed with vindication patterns she was too disciplined to verbalize. "We warned you. Humans don't follow predictable patterns of submission. The more pressure applied, the more innovative they become. They're fighting with primitive projectile weapons against our phase technology," Drex argued. "Their aircraft barely achieve supersonic speeds. Victory remains inevitable." "Is it?" Elder Zirith gestured toward the holographic displays showing the latest battle reports. "Our casualties increase exponentially each month. The humans are capturing our technology, reverse engineering it, combining it with their own designs in ways our engineers call crude but unnervingly effective." "Then we escalate," Drex declared. "We target their population centers, show them the price of resistance." Elder Talus fixed all 4 eyes on the Resource Minister. "You still don't understand what you're facing. Humans don't break under pressure. They transform. Every hardship you impose will forge them into something more dangerous." The Elder's warning would prove prophetic. The Consortium's decision to escalate would trigger a response they never anticipated, revealing the true power of humanity when pushed to the brink. The human response. 6 months into what the consortium had expected to be a brief pacification operation, their leadership faced an uncomfortable reality. Humans were not behaving like any species they had previously encountered. When the consortium destroyed Washington, D.C., survivors built an underground city beneath the ruins. When they targeted food supplies, humans developed hydroponic systems in abandoned subway tunnels. When they deployed atmospheric drones to track resistance movements, humans created electromagnetic pulse weapons from salvaged microwave ovens and car parts. But the most alarming development occurred in Dr. Volkov's mountain laboratory. After studying a damaged consortium scout ship, her team made a breakthrough. Their technology isn't actually more advanced than ours in fundamental principles, she explained to the assembled resistance leaders over a secure quantum communication channel, technology they'd reverse-engineered from captured consortium devices. It's just been developed longer. They've had thousands of years of incremental improvement, but the underlying physics is the same physics we understand. She activated a holographic display showing the complex patterns of a consortium energy weapon. Their weapons use quantum field manipulation, something we theorized but never implemented. But look at this. She overlaid the energy patterns with human design modifications. By combining our understanding of particle physics with their implementation, we can actually improve their designs. General Sun Wei leaned forward, his scared face illuminated by the holographic light. You're saying we can beat them at their own game. I'm saying we can change the game entirely, Volkov replied. They've been technologically stagnant for millennia. Their weapons and ships are thousands of years old, refined but fundamentally unchanged. We're innovating daily out of necessity. The resistance implemented Volkov's findings with remarkable speed. Captured consortium technology was modified, improved, and redistributed through a global underground network. Salvaged components were repurposed in ways the aliens never anticipated. Where the consortium expected humans to use their technology exactly as designed, humans instead broke it down, understood it, and rebuilt it to suit their specific needs. 8 months into the conflict, the consortium suffered their first major defeat. When they deployed their largest ground force yet to secure the African resource extraction points, they encountered something unexpected. Humans using modified consortium phase shields combined with Earth ballistic weapons, a combination their defense systems weren't calibrated to detect. 3,000 consortium troops were lost in a single day. In orbit, astronauts who had been stranded on the International Space Station when the invasion began managed to capture a small consortium supply ship. Using Volkov's modifications, they converted it into a fighter craft and began targeting the consortium's orbital platforms. The consortium response was to call in reinforcements, a battle group that had been subduing a rebellion in another sector. High Commander Vex, a veteran of 100 planetary pacifications, arrived with a fleet of capital ships. This resistance ends now, he declared as his ships took position around Earth. Surrender, or we will render your world uninhabitable. It was not an idle threat. The fleet's weapons could crack Earth's crust, boil its oceans, poison its atmosphere. The consortium had never needed to destroy a resource-rich world before, but they had the capability. What they didn't expect was humanity's response. In laboratories, bunkers, and hidden facilities around the world, humans had been preparing. Dr. Volkov and her international team had discovered something profound about consortium technology. Their faster-than-light communication system created quantum entanglement on a massive scale, a network that connected all their ships and weapons. It's their greatest strength and their greatest vulnerability, Volkov explained to the Unified Resistance Command. Their entire fleet functions as a single organism. If we can access that network, we can affect them all simultaneously. The plan was audacious. While resistance forces worldwide launched coordinated attacks on consortium ground forces, seemingly suicidal assaults that drew all attention to the surface, a small team including Volkov herself used a captured consortium shuttle to approach High Commander Vex's flagship. Using modified phase technology, they penetrated the ship's defenses. While combat specialists engaged the consortium security forces, Volkov and her team reached the ship's quantum communication hub, the node that connected to the entire fleet. There, they uploaded a virus, not a traditional computer virus, but a quantum algorithm that spread through the entangled particles connecting all consortium technology. It didn't destroy their systems, but instead gave humans access to them. Across Earth orbit, consortium ships suddenly found their weapons disabled, their shields failing, their engines shutting down. On the ground, consortium troops discovered their advanced weapons no longer functioned. In an instant, the military advantage had shifted completely. From the captured flagship's communication system, Dr. Volkov addressed the consortium leadership directly. The Grand Assembly watched in stunned silence as her image appeared in their chamber. "We could destroy your fleet now," she said calmly. "We could use your own weapons against you. But that's not our way. Unlike you, we don't believe technological superiority gives us the right to dominate others." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Humanity offers the Galactic Consortium a choice. Leave our solar system and recognize our sovereignty, or face destruction by your own technology. We've transmitted evidence of your violations of your own first contact protocols to all member species. Your deception has been exposed." In the Grand Assembly, Elder Zereth turned to Resource Minister Drex, whose crystalline form had dulled to a pale shadow of its former brilliance. "You were warned," Zereth said, his telepathic voice carrying to every mind present. "Now the consortium faces a species that has accomplished in months what took others millennia. Imagine what they will achieve in years, in centuries." The debate that followed was brief by consortium standards, mere hours instead of days. The vote was nearly unanimous, 497 to 3 in favor of withdrawing from Earth and recognizing humanity as a sovereign power. High Commander Vex was ordered to negotiate humanity's terms. His once mighty fleet, now under human control, would remain in Earth orbit as collateral until the agreement was formalized. The terms humanity presented were surprising to the consortium. Rather than demanding reparations or technology, they requested knowledge, unrestricted access to the consortium's scientific and historical databases. They also demanded the right to establish their own colonies on the 17 worlds in their sector that the consortium had coveted, and recognition as full members of the Galactic Consortium, with all associated rights. Most shocking of all, they offered to share their innovations, the improvements they had made to consortium technology, in mere months of adaptation and experimentation. "We don't seek dominance," Dr. Volkov explained to the astonished consortium representatives. "We seek partnership, but it must be a true partnership based on mutual respect, not the facade you initially presented." 1 year after first contact, humanity had gone from a primitive species to be exploited to a full member of the Galactic Consortium. Human representatives took their places in the Grand Assembly, bringing with them ideas and approaches that had never been considered in the consortium's long history. Elder Talus, whose warnings had been ignored, became humanity's strongest advocate within the consortium leadership. She worked closely with Dr. Volkov to establish new protocols for species integration, protocols that emphasized mutual benefit rather than exploitation. In private, she confided to Zereth, perhaps this was necessary. The consortium had grown complacent, stagnant. "These humans, they see possibilities where we see only established patterns." Zereth's skin pulsed agreement patterns. They were tested by fire and emerged stronger. "I wonder what they might become in 1,000 years." "Something magnificent," Talus replied. "Or terrifying. Perhaps both." As human ships began to explore beyond their solar system for the first time, carrying with them a unique blend of consortium technology and human innovation, the other species of the Galactic Consortium watched with a mixture of apprehension and anticipation. The humans had proven themselves unlike any species encountered before, not because of their physical attributes or their technology, but because of their indomitable spirit and their ability to transform adversity into advantage. The warnings had been ignored, And now humanity's true power had been revealed, not just to survive, but to thrive against all odds, to take what was meant to destroy them and forge it into something new. The galaxy would never be the same.